Hello, my audience. This is my review on two movies for The Price of Wine review on Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man, the first one was Andrew Garfield, his Spider-Man one. I give The Amazing Spider-Man 2 a 8 out of 10 and The Amazing Spider-Man 1 a 10 out of 10. Now I'm going to talk about each one in reverse order they will release in. I'm going to talk about Spider-Man 2 first, why I'm giving this 8 out of 10. Well, there's many things what contribute to this. But the biggest sin why I'm giving this an 8 out of 10 because Peter Parker has no relevant or struggles towards the plot of the movie relevant to Peter Parker because he doesn't have a life of Peter Parker. He's become a full-time Spider-Man, and I hate that. Takes out some of the drama that the first one was trying to show with Spider-Man from the comics, and the original trilogy was trying to show with Spider-Man from the comics. And this one cuts out the drama, and this focuses on the fantasy element of Spider-Man. I'm not sure if I like this. My critical brain's not liking this. It's forcing my brain to think negative things about this movie. And I don't like it. The negative things I'm thinking of Spider-Man not having anything to do other than being Spider-Man's really pissing me off about this movie. He doesn't have any personal life now outside of being other than Spider-Man, being full-time Spider-Man. It's just because he breaks off his relationship with Gwen Stacy early on, and that just makes him less relatable and more of a dumb, whiny drama queen of a character. I feel like the maturity where the Spider-Man progressed throughout the 3-act structure of the first one is seriously lacking in this movie. And his quips are more childish, and instead of better, they're worse. Which is strange because he's supposed to be a more experienced Spider-Man. So his jokes should be more experienced. As in more, we should, tell better jokes, not worse jokes than when he told in the first one. That sound more childish and more like a rookie Spider-Man than an experienced Spider-Man. This Spider-Man jokes like a rookie Spider-Man, less like an experienced Spider-Man with his jokes in the sequel. You see, I believe, and this was a wild guess of mine that I believe this. I'm going to explain what I believed, but then I was going to this was a guess before I looked at the special features. I guessed that they were so busy trying to please the old Raimi fans that were upset their run got canceled instead of getting for reimagining, reboot telling that's more faithful to the 616 and Ultimate Universe of Spider-Man. In terms of personality and how he functions in the first one was 2012. So, I looked at the special features and they confessed that they were pressured on by winning back the Raimi fans from the Raimi trilogy. They were more focused on winning back the Raimi fans than continuing, progressing, and maturing Peter Parker as a character. That was second. They were second had in mind for the Spider-Man 2 sequel. That's the sequel to Andrews. Yes, he has a more faithful comic book looking costume, but that doesn't cut out the fact. The fact is that they cut out all of the drama when there's nothing more drama except fluff. This is a 100% Spider-Man power fantasy without the Peter Parker character. Elverman in place, connected to the plot. He doesn't have a job as Spider-Man outside of being Spider-Man, because he's a full-time Spider-Man in the plot of the movie. I mean, I guess a text from a Jameson in the movie, but for all we know, that could just be an interview that he's blowing off. Because he's no longer in school, high school, so, and he doesn't have a job, so it's like, he doesn't do anything other than being Spider-Man. You know, Spider-Man is supposed to eventually get why doesn't he get a job in this movie? If he, the thing is, they showed him graduating in high school, but they never showed him doing anything else for Peter Parker to try to benefit his life as Peter Parker. Yes, we know that Peter Parker can't do both, but that doesn't seem to matter to Peter Parker from 616 or in the Ultimate Comics, because part of the whole Parker luck is that he struggles to do both. That's where the Parker luck comes from. His bad luck weighs on him 24 hours in each comic panel. When anything good happens as Spider-Man, something bad happens as Peter Parker. When anything good happens as Peter Parker, something bad has to happen as Spider-Man. That's the conflicting narrative of what makes Spider-Man relatable, you idiots. And I call you idiots because so many Spider-Man fans are like Lankara, thinking if you take the drama out and make Spider-Man no longer trying to balance both, you'll instantly make a better story. Whilst the Amazing Spider-Man 2 tried to do that, and it did not make a better story. It made a weaker story, a weaker, relatable character. He's more flat and dull than he was compared to where he was in the first movie. Very compelling, very relatable, very well-rounded as Spider-Man and as Peter Parker, because both has something to do, personas has something to do with the plot of the movie, tied together of Peter Parker's story and Spider-Man's story. And we saw the Parker look more relevant in that movie. And I started teared up at the end when he brought these eggs from the grocery store back after he just won the fight with Lizard and saved the day. And he actually managed for once do something right for himself as Peter Parker. Bring home the groceries, even when his other nicest friend, he's kind of fucked that off. But he brought home the eggs this time, even though every hell broke loose all over the city. He at least brought I thought it was a sweet pie, and it teared me up at he went through all that trouble, and he still brought home the groceries. And it makes you think, maybe he can do it, as maybe this Peter Parker can actually find a balance as Spider-Man in. Gives like an optimistic approach of him starting a relationship and committing a relationship after breaking off with Gwen because guilt from his father made him break up relationship due to a plot of the movie going on. By the end, after Gwen's dad gets mortally wounded by Lizard before Lizard turns back into human with the antidote. And he turns back into Kirk Connors, the playlist of Spider-Man 1 from 2012, which Andrew Garfield starred in. Much better movie. And much more compelling understanding of the character. And also a better job explaining the reinvention of the character without just throwing random shit in. Which is what this Amazing Spider-Man 2 has problems. It has the signal, with the first one being such a high grace and light in a ball, do not strike twice with the sequel. I think the sequel is only slightly better than Spider-Man 3 2007. And slightly better than Homecoming. And better than Far From Home with Holland, the sequel to Spider-Man. And I do hate the third one with Holland still. But this is the second best Spider-Man movie in live action to me. My favorite is the first one. I give that a 10 out of 10. I like how by the end he really does feel like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And I like how at the beginning, you know, I like how at the beginning it shows that he's not like he's not built for a hero. And he kind of like, when Littleson comes into the picture and he kind of starts morphing himself and transforming into the more friendly neighborhood Spider-Man we know and love from the Ultimate Universe and the 616 universe before One More Day fucked everything up. With Spider-Man character. Like, to me, I feel like I love how like the movie shows him evolve into Spider-Man throughout the 3-act structure. Like, he starts off as like a, you know, kind of asshole, but he's not a bad kid at heart. He's like I like the part when he shows he's like willing to stick up to a bully like Flash Thompson because he just doesn't want to take the picture of a kid getting bullied with his lunch, and let's ask him to put down the kid and saying he's not going to take the picture, and he gets bullied himself, but still stands up to the boy. I like this because just, you know, I like that scene, you know. I like that scene, like humanizing in highlighting. I like the little moment with Peter, and I like how the opening opens up with some more. I like how the opening opens up with Peter being abandoned by his family, taken by his aunt and uncle, Ben and May. I like how Regan told the story, origin story, in the opening. I like how, we saw him build the suit for the first time on screen. That we never saw in the 2002 film. Even though it was implied he built it, we never saw it built by him. We just cut to the next scene where he's in it. To me, that was one of my favorite part of the Spider-Man origin story, to see him build the suit. And I'm glad that this was brought to the big screen, that part of the story. It kind of upset me that the first 2002 Spider-Man movie just glanced over and never showed him built the costume. This one I was glad this one showed him built the costume. And I'm glad it showed that Peter Parker as a person, as well as Spider-Man as a person, and a hero. As well as Peter Parker, kind of, and I like how Peter Parker, I like this version of Peter Parker a lot. This is my favorite live-action portrayal of Peter Parker, one of my favorite versions of Peter Parker in the 2012 flick. And I find the sequel kind of butchered his character a lot. I wish if they made a Spider-Man 3 with Andrew, it was more like the first one, where Peter Parker and Spider-Man both felt like an important character in the main core of the story. The persona of the Spider-Man, Peter Parker, was always the main drama of every best Spider-Man story in the comics, I find, you know? And the most compelling, deep, complex stories of Spider-Man are the ones when Peter Parker and Spider-Man world are colliding, and, you know, Peter can't always keep it together as Spider-Man like he can keep it together as Peter Parker like he can as Spider-Man. And sometimes when Spider-Man loses, Peter Parker, or sometimes when Spider-Man loses, like it's like, you know, I always like, I mean, was like cutting out one or the other identity, like kind of cheapening the audience and butchering the character and showing a serious disrespect for the character. And this doesn't seem genuine love. And that's my problem with the 2002 Spider-Man, the sequel, and also the third Spider-Man movie, and the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and all the Holland Spider-Man trilogy. The entire run of his trilogy, even the one he's playing in the Avengers movies, is butchering it and ruining the point. of Spider-Man. Spider-Man's probably the guy that matures, but also is relatable. It starts off as a kid in the comics, but once that's in there, at least in the 616 one, I find out he starts off as a teenager for like 5 or 10 issues, and he graduates, and he grows into adulthood. You know, well, the narrative, the compelling narrative stays there for all his age. It stays there because that's kind of what makes the drama good with Spider-Man. Sometimes it's not written well, though. Sometimes it's written like, to weaken the character, to make him, get him make a dumb decision, like give up his MJ marriage with MJ and make a deal with Mephisto, only to save his Aunt May that's dying of a balloon and in her elder years and okay to die. Yeah. Sometimes it's not often used for smart reasons, the drama mania of Spider-Man. Or like the third Spider-Man movie, or all 3 Spider-Man movies, Tom Holland and Maguire. Or like Spider-Man 2 with Andrew. Really the weakest parts of Spider-Man stories, it feels like they all are. Except the 2012 one. And that's my reviews on Spider-Man live action in a nutshell. I just gave you my thoughts on all Spider-Man live actions, in a nutshell. But that's why I love the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I give it 10 out of 10. Goodbye. Subscribe. Like this video. Good morning. It's early morning where I am. I haven't had the sunrise yet, but it's a little after 4 o'clock a.m. in the morning. So goodbye. Morning. Like this video. Subscribe. Or comment below, but you don't have to. Just rather if you subscribe or like this video more. Important to me to support my channel. See ya.